I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone who responded to my last post that was essentially my vulnerability and cry and expression of my care for this earth. And it really meant something to me to hear others speak up as well and share that they care as well and that I'm not alone. It's really hard right now. There's a lot of things that people are facing as far as fear. There's a gamut of things, and being vulnerable isn't something we're taught to do. It doesn't come easily for most people. And it needs to be heard, though. We can't continue to not speak up. We need to take a stand. We can't allow things to go back to what was normal. It's just amazing how things have changed in a short period of time since the humans have stopped moving. Cities are seeing mountain ranges for the first time in decades. Animals are returning to areas that they haven't been in decades. And it gives you a real clue as to what impact the humans are doing and how quickly we really can act when it comes to an emergency. And when we deny science, I feel, again, like it's saying, I don't believe in math. 1 and 1 does make 2. And the animals aren't polluting the waters, we are. And if we don't stop that, if we don't care and make concern and change our ways, then we will perish. And that's why it's just so very difficult for me to understand why the current U.S. administration is rolling back progress we've already made in cutting pollution. It just blows my mind and tears at my heart, and to hear that others stand with me I've felt so much lighter since Tuesday. After that post and I saw some of the responses and just the caring and concern and the humanity that others do have, I took a walk in the woods and spent some time with the trees, and then I came back home and got back on the phone and got to see everybody's lovely responses that we're in this together and there are people that care. I'm just wondering how we can make a greater difference. At what point do we understand that we don't want to go back to that normal, that old way of what was normal, because that was a way that is hurting our earth beyond measure. And we aren't taught to be vulnerable, but when we can embrace it, it opens up so much more, and it's great. It's hard, especially for me. I don't take the criticism well. I want to shy at the first hint of anyone taking offense to my words, and it just makes me want to crawl into a hole. But then there's this other side of me that is so passionate about recycling and planet Earth matters, and I want to really light a fire and get into action, but I have no idea how. And one thing I've been doing in the last week is signing every petition I can online that is a conservancy group, that is environmental matters, that is for, frankly, the Democrats, seeming how it seems to be so lopsided now that the other party just wants to be hateful and greedy, and it's not okay. And we need to think about future generations and what good does another $1 million do you when you can't take it with you? And what legacy are you really leaving? I would much rather be someone who left a legacy of protection of everything and leave things better than I found them than destruction and pollution. It just... So what I'm wondering is how we gather together more. How do we take all these individual organizations that I've been signing up for these petitions, and how do we gain further ground? How do we come together? And for people like me, who is a natural introvert, how do we speak up louder and bolder and be in the game? Because living by default has really gotten us here. Just not having a voice and not speaking out, this is what it's gotten us. And a lot of us aren't happy with our desk jobs as office monkeys and long commutes that are just further polluting the world, when we could be spending time with our families, creating gardens and growing community. So I don't know how it's done. I don't know how we're going to get through this exactly. I don't know what it looks like on the other side. But I'm willing to embrace my fears of crying in public, apparently, and being bold. I'm tired of being silent. I'm tired of the earth hurting so much and people hurting so much and the lower class and other people just being stepped on and forgotten. It's time to raise up and be humane, have humanity, care for one another. There aren't very many people that I'm close with. I don't trust other people. I don't take criticism well. I'm a perfectionist. I criticize others. I see it reflected back to me, and my social circle is really, really small. And it's a protection measure on my part. I get that. And I'm trying my best to open up because I want to be in the game. I want to speak up. I want to be a change facilitator. I want a better life for the next generation. I don't even have kids, but I care deeply for this next generation and the next and the next. And how are we going to do it? And I think part of it is showing up, being vulnerable, speaking about what matters to you, because no one's going to speak it for you. And when it comes time, this coming November, like right now even, whether or not people get to vote, because nobody's going to want to go out in public necessarily in a month, 2 month, 3 month, who knows? There's people that are going to be traumatized by social interactions and cannot physically get to polls. I didn't even know it was a thing that people didn't vote by mail everywhere. By the time I've been able to vote, I've lived in the state of Washington that always had a vote by mail. And so right now, to petition and to express to Congress and anyone we can, and that we need everybody to be able to vote by mail, means a better tomorrow. Because the more people that get to vote, I would hope that they vote on the side of humanity. Not hate and greed, and destruction and pollution and big company, big pharma, oil industry. It's not sustainable, and we need an earth that's worth living in. So I'm going to do what I can to be more vulnerable and speak up, and please, I can only encourage others to do the same. Now is the time. If we don't speak up now, then when? And if we don't want a better, different looking tomorrow, what do we have?